August 1945. The war is entering its final, bloodiest days. On the remote Pacific staging ground of Tinian Island, the United States is preparing for a mission that will bring the conflict to a close. At the center of this operation is the B-29 Enola Gay. Its pilot, Colonel Paul Tibbets, has been ordered to execute a strike intended to force an immediate end to the fighting. Inside the aircraft is a payload unlike anything used in the history of warfare. Known as Little Boy, this uranium bomb represents an entirely new class of destructive technology. On the morning of August 6th, the weapon was released. The explosion resulted in the instant devastation of Hiroshima and a massive loss of life. 3 days later, a second bomber, Boxcar, followed. It carried a different weapon, Fat Man, which was dropped on the city of Nagasaki. These coordinated strikes achieved the military's goal. Within days, Japan announced its surrender, bringing the Second World War to a permanent close. But imagine we go back to the moments before the drop. The Enola Gay is approaching Hiroshima. The bombardier is preparing. The crew is waiting. At the exact release point, the pilot makes a choice. He refuses. The bomb remains inside the aircraft. In that moment, a highly orchestrated military operation collapses into an operational vacuum. The aircraft turns away, and history begins to diverge. The return flight is a tense, uncertain journey. For the first time in the war, a pilot is returning with an armed atomic weapon still in the bay. Upon landing, the consequences are immediate. Disobeying a supreme wartime directive triggers an automatic court-martial and arrest, ending the pilot's career and his freedom. The moral decision to spare a city creates a crisis of command that the military is not prepared to handle. While one pilot refuses to drop the bomb, the war itself does not end. In Washington and at the Pacific Command, the reality remains. Japan has not surrendered. The United States still possesses its nuclear arsenal. Planners are now forced to decide if they should simply assign a new crew to attempt the Hiroshima mission again. The refusal on August 6th disrupts the strategic plan. Planners must weigh a delayed Hiroshima schedule against an accelerated strike on a different target. Every hour changes the variables. Success depends on weather patterns and backup aircraft, while Japanese air defenses go on high alert. Refusing the order does not end the atomic age, it merely creates a state of tactical chaos, potentially shifting the devastation to another city like Nagasaki without any warning. Command might have turned to the demonstration strategy. This involved detonating the weapon over an unpopulated area to show Japanese leaders the bomb's power without destroying a city. But this carries an immense risk. If the demonstration fails to shock the Japanese high command into surrender, the psychological impact of the weapon is lost. Without the sudden shock of the atomic bomb, the war defaults to conventional means. Continued firebombing and a full-scale ground invasion would lead to a staggering loss of life on both sides. By refusing to inflict a concentrated atomic tragedy, the pilot may have inadvertently condemned hundreds of thousands more civilians to die in a prolonged, grinding conventional war. Looking past 1945, we encounter a world where the atomic bomb was never used against a populated city. This changes how the world views nuclear energy and the threat of total war. The Cold War was built on the concept of nuclear deterrence. Peace was maintained by the demonstrated, verified horror of city-killing weapons. Without the Hiroshima precedent, the threshold for using even more powerful thermonuclear weapons later in the century might have been dangerously low. It is a difficult historical paradox. The destruction of 1945 may have been the very trauma that prevented a global nuclear exchange in the decades that followed. We return to that moment in the cockpit, the seconds before the decision. It is the ultimate ethical trap. An individual acting to save lives in the present can trigger an uncontrollable cascade of different tragedies in the future. It is an impossible burden for a single soldier to carry out an order that will leave a permanent mark on human history. History is defined not only by the orders that are followed, but by the weight of those that are refused. It forces us to confront the responsibility of an individual, even when the consequences of their choice are impossible to predict. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Hidden Empire Global for more stories about history, war, society, and the moments that changed our world.